is the Big O Show.
Let's go. Let's get into it. Follow him on Twitter at Omar Kelly and catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. How you feeling?
I'm good. Can't complain. Sitting here in the midst of work, trying to get myself organized with my thoughts.
You know, you had an article, and I found it enlightening, the article for the Miami Dolphins in this sense. And maybe you agree or you don't agree, but you kind of wrote the article, so you kind of lead the fans in that direction. When you talk about hot seat guys, you know, all of them weren't even starters. Like, they're all guys that are like trying to fight for a spot or something. There aren't really a lot of. That's the good thing, that there aren't a ton. I know you started off the article in general with Tua, but that really wasn't the 10 guys that were on the list, right?
No,
right?
This was more roster spots, not like.
Right. That's what I mean. I mean.
This is more. This wasn't. Now if you're talking about like guys where their success or failure or development is critical to the team's like overall play. Now, that's
of course.
That's a good idea. But yeah, no, I'm talking about guys who, there's no guarantee these guys are on the 53-man roster. Right. It really depends on how they perform and how they learn the offense. But yeah, none of those guys are starters, except for Preston. I would say Preston Williams. Myles Gaskin was a starter. So
right. I mean, these are all guys that either had some starts in them or by the way, have potential still to be starting caliber type players. It all depends on them putting it together and everything falling into place, of course. But that's the thing about, this team this year, that they've done a pretty good job of filling in, that overall you're kind of satisfied with your starters or the guys that are kind of battling for that starting spot. And then when you look at the rest, these are the kind of other issues that you're talking about. So it's not that bad, is what I'm saying. To start off, your issues seem like you've done a good job of taking care of a lot of things.
Yeah, I've said that for weeks now, if not months. I love the way that they built this roster. I love the team. They're really. It's very hard for me to find holes in the roster, and even the holes that I did find. The signing of Melvin Ingram, if they needed another pass rusher, that was done. The center spot, they've got a guy that, played another position working at center. Then you got Michael Dieters kind of competing for that job or the backup job. I'd probably still add a center, not necessarily a veteran center, but that could wait. You could wait till the first round of cuts or the second round of cuts. You don't have to do it tomorrow. I'm scanning my brain on the roster. No, even tackle. Because we're not watching.
It's only one side. It's only one side that they're battling for, right?
Yeah, but we're not watching Teron Armstead right now, and so. But you got Greg Little. Like, it'll be interesting to see what happens now. This mandatory camp, and everybody has to show up, and everybody has to participate to see where things shake out, because I am a little bit uncomfortable with the backup tackle situation, even though I know guards can move out to tackle, and I'm pretty confident that they can get the job done. But yeah, I don't have any issues. I can't tell you right now. I can't name you an issue on. Maybe I would have loved a better inside linebacker, but Channing Tindall is gonna be developed.
Well, you made the investment for the inside linebacker. I see what you're saying. You'd like to get maybe an established guy right now to get you through the bridge of it. But they did make the commitment to fill that spot by drafting that kid.
Absolutely. So I can't, I'm nitpicking, and I can't really nitpick. And that just shows you how good the roster is. Now, whether this is a playoff team really depends on the quarterback, how the offensive line holds up, the defense, whether or not they
coaching, bro. Coaching too. I mean, as much as we like what Mike McDaniel's all about, as much as I like the vibe, as much as I like that he looks like he tries to communicate with everybody at every level,
Everybody tries to communicate. Everybody tries to communicate. Everybody's a great communicator.
The last guy you had here, the last guy you had here was not known as a communicator, and the one before that was not known as a communicator.
You know what?
Okay. The guy, especially the guy before, only communicated with certain people. Actually,
that's wrong. I hate. Gase was a great communicator. Flores. He I don't think he had an issue communicating, you know. And the thing is, when he didn't like you, he didn't like you. But
there's a lot of coaches that don't like some players. You have to, but if they're good, you got to find a way to work with them. You know what I'm saying? You may have personality clashes.
I mean, he did that. He did that. Until I get
brother, when you keep your starting quarterback on the bench and he's ready to play after playing 18 holes of golf, and you know he played 18 holes of golf because you told him you weren't starting, so you know, have the afternoon off, and you go play golf, and then after you reach for him and you stay there, Jacoby, we're gonna keep the kid in. Yeah, no. That's not communication, bro.
Listen, until I get, you know what bothers me about what's going on?
What?
And I think I've said this to you before, and it's really puzzling to me. And I'm gonna do a podcast with Nick Hicks and Reasons this week, hopefully.
On the Sun Sentinel?
No.
Then no. No.
What do you mean no?
It's exclusive. Of course not. No. Love you, Nick. Love your reasons. No. We pay you to be exclusive. No. So no.
Oh, good point.
No.
Here's what bothers me.
I hope you didn't commit to him. You're gonna have to uncommit to him.
Good point.
Sorry, guys. But go ahead.
Here's what bothers me. The mystery around Tua and his personality.
By the way, you could tell Nick and Reasons to come on with us. All four of us. Well,
honestly, I don't even know who Reasons is. Like the people say
no,
him.
I know them both, and I talked to both of them. They're more than if we want to do it, we can do it on this platform, all four of us. You can tell them that. Okay?
Gotcha.
I don't have a problem with that. I think Dolphin fans would love that. We'll have some fun with it.
The mystery about Tua's personality, and I don't know much more than what they want me to know, and what is the prepackaged, fabricated version of what the world wants you to know about Tua. And it's like you ask players who know him and are his teammate and have been his teammates for a while, and they're like, yeah, no, I can't talk about that. I'm like, what? You can't talk about what a person is like? You can't talk about what their personality is like?
No.
It's like it you know, what like Lynn Bowden Jr., you know, he's the guy who's worked out with Tua consistently all offseason.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I can't talk about his personality.
Well, that's because they don't want to. Maybe that's kind of the MO behind the scenes. Don't talk about it. You know what I mean? Hey, man, that's how it is. You don't really get to talk about Tiger.
That's how it is with who? That's how it is
with lots of people. It's not like lots of people aren't elaborating on Aaron Rodgers, and they're not elaborating on Tiger Woods, and they're not, because that's just how it is sometimes. Some of your top guys in your team like that, you don't really get that. With Tom Brady Patriots, you never got it. Now Tom Brady post Patriots,
they tell you
it's got to have been different. It's got to have been different. You don't really. These are things that sometimes that's kind of like the MO out there. Don't talk. I guess that's what's thrown out there. They don't want you talking about them. Why? Because then you get something and it goes into 8 different directions. And that's the problem when you're one of those polarizing type dudes, that any little thing that's said or a video that's put out, it's interpreted in 8 different ways. And while you may write a very nice piece about Tua, about this or that, people are going to get some of the things you say and then turn them into negative stories all around. So, what, in order to avoid all of that, they try to talk as little as possible.
So let me ask you this question, and I understand.
It's just the way it is.
I probably never had any interest in what Chad Henne or Ryan Fitzpatrick or no Fitzpatrick.
Dude, the only guy you ever talk about is Pennington.
No, or Tannehill. Like
no. You weren't interested. The only guy I've ever heard you out of the quarterbacks that you like.
Fitzpatrick was very interesting.
Oh yeah, that's right. Actually, Fitz too. Fitz was a very entertaining, engaging guy. Yes, that's right.
Like, what's the mystery? I don't get it. You don't get this. You don't get this mystery with Patrick Mahomes. You don't get this. Vow to secrecy. But hey, I'm very curious.
Some people are private, bro. Some people are very private, and he one of those guys, like Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter, very private, dude.
We still got our Derek Jeter stories.
No, but no. But it wasn't from Derek Jeter. It was from some tabloid that he would leave a basket for women, which, by the way, the story ended up not being true after all these years. So it was just, but it was never Derek. You never heard about Derek because Derek never was in front of the camera or paparazzis or any of that, because
he was always in front of the camera. He just never.
No, on the field, I'm saying, but off the field, any of that, he wasn't really searching for any kind of buzz anywhere. He wasn't telling the paparazzi, I'm going to be at this restaurant or this club so you can see me hang out with the girls and all. That wasn't him. It's not who he was. Some guys, the Cal Ripkens of the world, the Derek Jeters, the Tiger Woods, the Tuas, they love their privacy, bro. Tebow, as polarizing as Tebow is, which is probably the most polarizing athlete I've ever seen, that guy was all private too, bro. Everything was private about him going on behind the scenes. You never got any access to Tebow. Hell, when he was at the Senior Bowl, nobody got access to him. He would walk off with 8,000 people following him, and it was only 2 or 3 people who were going to be selected to talk to Tebow, and that's it. It's the way it is. Some guys are like that, man. They really care about their privacy, and he is a personal and a family type guy. It's just that's who he is. So it's going to be a mission for you. You're going to have to go through his charities and through Lee Steinberg, and you're going to have to try to, really reach out and all that kind of stuff in order to maybe even get some half-ass story. But I don't think a lot of you are going to get a lot of access to that guy.
I don't care about the story. I just would like to actually know what the person is like, other than the package. Huh?
Then you do care about the story because you want to write it.
No, I actually don't want to write it. I wouldn't write it.
Is it your editors are asking? Is that what it is?
No, my editors don't ask me for shit. Just what I give you is what you get.
Okay.
I'm just curious because you hear the one thing Waddle said is he's a lot more competitive than people think he is, and I want to know. It's not like you can't ask him anything at the podium, because he'll generally answer, other than what his feelings about Brian Flores are. We talked to him. Right. We'll talk to him this week.
Yeah, it's just hard for you or anybody to ask him to brag about himself or talk about his drive or whatever.
Nobody's asking him to brag. No, he's been, and in fact, in the 2 years that we've covered him, he's been a lot more transparent than most of the quarterbacks that we've ever covered. I mean, he's not. He's a very transparent guy. Like
the last couple of times, I kind of like the guy you're getting the last couple of times, because it looks like the guy that looks little bit more comfortable again. Because man, the guy you got at the end of the year, my man, that man was beaten down. Holy crap, he was beaten down, man.
Emotionally beaten down.
Yeah.
I will acknowledge that, especially after that Tennessee game.
Yeah.
Tennessee game, you could definitely see that something was there, and I don't know this whole. I've never seen a quarterback divide a whole fan base, so we'll see. We've had crappy quarterbacks before. They
weren't nearly as polarizing as this. No, it's not even close. Fiedler was polarizing, but not like this guy.
No, Henny was polarizing.
Henny was polarizing.
Tannehill was polarizing.
Let me tell you, Fiedler was polarizing, bro. Big time. Big freaking time. Yes. Very polarizing. I covered it. And it was, man, the anti-Fiedler people were, wow. I think there was some anti-Semitism tied to it, but whatever. It is what it is. But that happens whenever any kind of minorities at quarterback, you're just going to have a little bit of whatever that comes from. But yeah, you're right. There's never been any. This is like Tebow. So it's not at the level of Tebow, because Tebow's was, you know.
I hate when people make that comparison, because then you're kind of saying that he's you're I could see the Christianity aspect, the winning on the college level aspect, the division of fans aspect.
But it has nothing to do with talent, my brother. That goes back to the conversation we had last week. Kaepernick, Tebow, and Tua are all polarizing, but they're all different types of polarizing. Doesn't mean, or Deshaun Watson, doesn't mean that they're all the same, but they're all polarizing in any which way and form that you want. But there's different things that polarize those players. But it has nothing to do with comparing the talent of Tua to Tebow or Deshaun, or it's just their levels of polarization are different, but they're all polarizing in their own way. That's all.
Is Jay Cutler polarizing?
No, Jay Cutler either is an asshole or not. Either he's lazy or he's not. He's not really polarizing.
I mean,
he's kind of like you like him or you don't.
Isn't that kind of what polarizing is? Like,
no. These guys are lightning rods for so many other reasons that have nothing to do with football.
So why is Tua a lightning rod?
With Jay Cutler is all football. With Tua, there's this other thing that comes with it. You know what I mean?
What is the other thing?
That emotional thing that comes behind the Tuanons and all of that.
I mean, but what is the other thing? What is it? Like, what put it in words? Like, what?
It's that it's hard to put in words, but his personality, like Russell Wilson, like God, it's Tony Gwynn. Some of these guys that have kind of this corny like that, like they're too good to be true, and it's hard for you to believe that they're that good of a human being and all that kind of. Tebow has the same thing. It's one of these things that people have a hard time believing that some of these kind of cats can actually be your answer because they're so wholesome. And these wholesome dudes tend to be polarizing. It's just a weird dynamic that I can't explain.
So you're saying your theory is that Tua is polarizing because he's wholesome?
Yeah. People can't deal with the fact that he's kind of, near perfect. It's like he's a great human being, and he's really about family, and he's really about his football team, and he's really about the sport. I think people have a hard time believing that he is what he is, just like Tebow. People have a hard time believing that that's what he really believes. You know what I mean? And whether it's his religion, whether it's him being, the good person that he is for anybody and everybody, because most of us don't have that in us. We cannot be like Derek Jeter. Whether we like to admit it or not, Derek Jeter's 1,000 times better than us at handling life. Overall, when being a player and everything's coming at you, and the guy can handle everything marvelously. And so does Russell Wilson. You know what I mean? And his wholesome ass ends up with Ciara, and it's like one of those things that it's just weird, you know. And I think people have a hard time gravitating to people that they cannot relate with because they are so much more perfect than we are. You know, it's just a weird dynamic, but I've seen it over the years. It's just we treat them differently. Maybe you don't, and maybe I don't, but man, a ton of people do. They just have an issue with these wholesome type dudes. It's weird. It's weird.
I don't know. I can't say why Tua is polarizing, but I never thought about it because he was wholesome and or he's portrayed to be wholesome. I don't think anybody's really wholesome.
Well, I could guarantee you Russell Wilson, Tim Tebow, and Tua are way more wholesome than you and me ever will be.
Oh, I'm not wholesome. So
okay, well, that's what I'm saying. More than the average person, whether you like it or not, those dudes tend to make the right decisions more than we do. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what it is, but it's just a weird dynamic that we have in sports because we want our stars to be edgy. We want our stars to have maybe a little street in them, a little rough in them, a little toughness in them. A little, you know what I'm saying? Some kind of an edge. You know what I'm saying?
We want our stars to be Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We want
an
stars
edge.
to be an a-hole.
And when you look at Jeter, there wasn't really an edge. When you look at Russell, there's not an edge. Not in the way they play. The way they play was an edge, but just the way they carry themselves. Because they weren't going to talk back at you like Jim McMahon. And they're not going to snap at you like Joel Embiid. And you're not going to do the things that athletes in the past and the present do because they're just not that dude. They're just not that dude. Yeah. You know, they're not going to brag about themselves. They're not going to trash anybody else. They're going to elevate everything around them. And we have in our society, we don't do that. We don't elevate everything around us.
I'm going to give this some serious thought and consideration whether or not Tua's wholesomeness is the reason why he's so divisive.
It's weird. It's weird.
I might ask him that. I might ask him that question. What is your theory on why you're so divisive?
Yeah. Yeah.
He probably doesn't even know that Tua exists.
That's interesting. I don't know. He's got to. Somebody has to have mentioned.
I agree with you. Somebody has. Somebody's got to.
Steinberg's assistant, Nick, somebody that's close to him around him.
Yeah, he might know Tua exists.
He has to know. They have to show it to him. Like, you see this is funny as hell or something.
He's probably one of those kids who tells you, he's already told you, I don't have cable, so I don't know what's being said, which is a lie. Right. Not that he doesn't have cable, but that he doesn't know what's being said. Right. But yeah, he's got
telling you, man. I'm telling you, it's just one of those things. You know, we don't talk up Tony Gwynn enough. Why? Because he didn't play like Ricky Henderson, dude. Yet he's one of the greatest hitters of all time. He could go up to the plate blindfolded and know where the ball's coming in the zone to hit it. You know, it's like, but nobody talked because Tony Gwynn was straight and narrow, bro. You know, it's just one of those things, man. It's just we treat that wholesome dude, even though we know he's great. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, he's Lance Allworth, and I'm kind of losing you on this one, but
you said a name that I have no idea who that is.
Right. Well, that's one of the greatest receivers of all time for the San Diego Chargers. Back in the day, a Hall of Famer, right? But he was like a religious, wholesome dude that, like, you know, one day they asked one of the linebackers, like, hey, man, don't you ever worry about being on plane flights that there's thunderstorms and all? This is the 60s, by the way. And he goes, oh, there's no way anything will ever happen to us. God will never let anything happen to Lance Allworth. And that's kind of like Tim Tebow. That's kind of like Tua. That's kind of like all those wholesome guys. It's like, oh, we're safe, dude. We've got the angel on board.
But you know what's interesting, and he's not preachy.
No, but he does things the right way every damn time. And that's hard because none of us do that. And everybody else sees it, and it's like, damn, I can't do that. I can't be like him. You're telling me every day you're trading for Deshaun Watson, and the guy never loses it. And the guy never snaps, and the guy handles it, and the guy handles it, and the guy handles it, and the guy handles it. And how does he do that? And it's just we have a hard time dealing with people that are really good at being good. It's the weirdest thing, man.
Let's hope he's a quarterback.
Well, Russell Wilson was. So
Russell Wilson was a different
Allworth was a hell of a player. So you can be a good person, and you know, Derek Jeter, you can be a good person and be a great player. It's happened many times, you know. So it doesn't always have to be Tim Tebow. Which, by the way, Tim Tebow was a great player through college. Let's not crap on Tebow's career. Okay, his career was freaking awesome. All right?
He won a playoff game. He started.
Yeah. He wasn't a NFL quarterback, but up until college, that guy's a Hall of Famer, bro. Period. College football Hall of Fame, you know, for sure. I think he's already in there, isn't he? I think he is. I think they already inducted him. All right, what are you working on in the Sun Sentinel so folks can check you out? Articles about good people in sports?
What'd you say?
Articles about good people in sports?
No. I'm trying to figure out what would interest this fan base about this team heading into mandatory minicamp. And people we haven't talked to, like the Xavier Howards, the Emmanuel.
I think the intrigue of the battle of the right side of the line, all the different machinations and combinations that can happen. The fact that they have a plethora of players now that are no longer fighting for 5 spots. They're basically fighting for 2, unless you get competition for Dieter. Because your little experiment with Connor Williams is fun, nice, and all that. But Connor's doing that just in case they desperately need him in the middle of the season to move him from left guard. But he's going to be the left guard with the left tackle. That's their plan. So I think the right side, I think it's very intriguing because you have so many names. And even one of the guys you mentioned on the hot seat in your article could be in that one, in Solomon Kinley, who has worked on his weight because he knows he's got to move better in this system. So it'll be interesting to see what he has because he's kind of been the forgotten man.
You have you seen him? Don't say he's worked on his weight till you've seen him.
Oh, really? He gained it back again?
Because he looks the same. He looks the same 340-something pounder he's always been. Listen,
that's not good. I forgot which one of you guys wrote an article a couple months ago that he was working on losing his weight and all that stuff.
I'm sure it was Barry. You get catfished. I'm not interested in being catfished again.
What a shame. No, but he needs it, dude. There's no way he's going to make it here if he can't move.
Done.
On this
I'm not even counting him. Like,
okay. No, I know you've always been on him for his.
Yeah, nah.
But in this scheme now, oh my God.
I give him a better shot at being a center. Who was it that Greg Little? That's one guy I would like to talk to before minicamp is over.
Okay.
Because he was traded to Miami. He looked good in training camp, but he never played a single down. Every week they needed people to step up at right tackle. Never got a chance.
Well, let's bring it full circle. Maybe somebody didn't communicate with him. I'm just having fun. Just relax.
Listen. Yeah, I mean, maybe communication was an issue. I don't know. I moved on. I moved on with my life. He's in Pittsburgh now, making good.
You'll be there soon. You'll be there soon with him, hanging out, having fun, getting chummy.
Funny? They were
enjoying the Steels, enjoying the Iron City beer.
They were in Pittsburgh last week to shoot Aaron Donald. You're absolutely right.
I wonder what's up with that story, huh? He signed with Kanye's group now, with his production company, because he and his wife apparently are into rapping. And so that's kind of the next stage. And so now the Rams are shitting bricks because they want him to get on a new deal, and he's been talking retirement.
Oh, he's kind of. If you watch the I Am Athlete episode, he's very serious about retirement.
I didn't believe it early on, but now And now that he did this new deal this week with Kanye, first
he's
of all,
made he's made $170 something million. He's like I don't need money.
No, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer already, and he got his title. So
first ballot Hall of Famer. Hey, this is a good one because they had this conversation on I Am Athlete, and I've really been thinking about it. Is Aaron Donald in the conversation as the greatest defensive player of all time? And who would be on your Mount Rushmore for greatest defensive player of all time?
Lawrence Taylor is definitely another one that I would put there. It has to be like a terror on all ends. Bruce Smith is another one that I would put in there.
Bruce Smith, that's an interesting name. Yeah, no Reggie White.
Reggie White would be another I would put in that group.
Would you put Deion Sanders in that conversation?
Yes, of course you would. I know he's only a cover guy, but I would also put Rod Woodson there because he'll knock your pecker in your sock too at the same time. So I'll put Rod Woodson because for me, if you had to give me Deion or Rod, I'm taking Rod Woodson because Rod Woodson was maybe the best two-way defensive back I've ever seen. Ronnie Lott's another one that I would put in there too.
Hold on, define two-way defensive back.
What I mean is like he can come up and play the run and knock you out. Rod Woodson played safety and corner. Remember that.
Okay,
he started as a corner. He started as a corner and switched over to safety because he was that good. All right. Deion wasn't gonna hit anybody, bro.
Yeah, but when you say two-way, like Deion get the ball, he's odds.
Well, yeah, especially he was a returner. Yes, he was a great returner.
Yeah, I mean,
and by the way, Rod Woodson was a hell of a returner also. So but all I'm saying is Rod Woodson and Ronnie Lott, they have a little thing for me that I like over Deion is that they were great cover guys, but then there was no weakness in the box. If they stepped into the box, they were going to knock the shit out of you.
Where's Ray Lewis in that conversation?
Ray Lewis is there too. I have no problem with Ray. It's a very subjective. It's a very subjective conversation. It's not one where you can really lean to one guy because strengths of different players meant different things. And so if you want to just shut out half the secondary, then go get Deion. And then he'll take out the number one receiver every single week, making it that much harder for everybody else. But if you want Warren Sapp is another one because he was very good as a pass rusher and did a good job against the run. I won't say very good, but he was good against the run.
Who would you take over, Aaron Donald or Warren Sapp?
Oh, Aaron Donald. Every day of the week and twice on Sundays. Yes.
Lawrence I'll take Aaron Taylor or Aaron Donald?
Lawrence Taylor.
Okay.
With or without cocaine. Don't matter to me.
Ray Lewis or Aaron Donald?
Aaron Donald. Because he gets after the quarterback. So in the end, I got to give the guy that can disrupt your run game and scare the crap out of your quarterback every single time. Because I would imagine that quarterbacks that play Aaron Donald are thinking about him on every down. It's like Lawrence Taylor. You just look over there and there's just snot, and just coke coming out of there. It's just,
unfortunately,
and there's an extra line on the field and you're like confused. Which is the 20-yard? No, that's Lawrence's line. Don't pay attention to that.
Aaron Donald or Reggie White?
Aaron Donald.
I never saw Reggie White play.
I did. I saw him play.
Yeah, I was of age, but I wasn't really paying attention. This wasn't This wasn't like when every game is on TV. So it's like I can't sit there and say
I've never seen a defensive end lift offensive lineman. Never seen it in my life. Like all the time. Came up on him, boom, and the guy got his legs in the air. And you're like, what the hell is this? And he did it several times. Never seen that in my life. Reggie White was a freak all the way around, bro. But Aaron Donald is so much quicker. I've never seen anything like that. And so that's why I have to give Aaron Donald the edge. As much as I love Reggie, man. He is one hell of a player, dude. Holy crap. So there you go. All right. So you got your ideas now on articles.
Nah, no, not no articles. I was just I interested in the conversation because they were having that conversation about the greatest defense player. Like, and I never thought of Aaron Donald like that until you sit, and the numbers are there, the productivity is there.
Ed Reed. Somebody put there. I have no problem putting Ed Reed there too because it's just like Dion as a cover safety. I've never seen a cover safety like Ed Reed. You know what I mean? Now, I'm going to take Ronnie Lott because Ronnie Lott will bring the physical ability that Ed Reed did not bring to the table. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to put Ed Reed in that conversation, cerebrally, I have no problem with that because he's just at another level.
Didn't Charles Woodson play safety too? Eventually moved back and play safety?
Yes. Woodson was another freak, another hell of a player that was corner. But that was the interesting part about the Pittsburgh secondary. Rod Woodson and Carnell Lake both started as corners and ended also as safeties. That's how good those guys were, that they could play both. And Carnell Lake was also one hell of a player as a corner and as a safety. I'll take Woodson over him, but Carnell Lake is no slouch, bro. It's a hell of a player. But that's how good they were. Troy Polamalu, I like to extreme, but I won't put him in those conversations with the guys I talked about. There's a lot of freewheeling and a lot of gambling at times with him, just like Junior Seau. As great as Junior Seau was, I won't put him at that level of the guys we just talked about because there was a lot of freewheeling, a lot of gambling going on that they kind of ran out of some plays too at the same time. These guys that we just talked about right now, they're at another echelon, I say. Those are the elites of the elites for me. The guys he just talked about and I talked about here. But I love Troy Polamalu, the player. Don't get me wrong. Just good. There's a couple of other guys I'll take over him. That's all I'm saying. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Omar Kelly and catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Make sure you subscribe. Oh, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you as always.
All right, Rick. All right, man.
You got it. EJD Construction. We love it. Fully insured. Communication. Brian Flores didn't communicate. Eric will communicate. 305-433-4843. And again, fully insured, liability and all. Do not hire anyone to work in your home that is not insured. They get injured in your home, they will sue you. And you can't do anything about it. All right? They are fully insured. I would not have a sponsor on here that's not fully insured because I'm not going to do that. I always ask if we have these kind of sponsors join our show. One of the things I ask is, are you fully insured? And let me see it. And make sure you vet everyone that you hire. If you don't hire EJD Construction, that's fine. Hire somebody else. Good luck. But please make sure they're fully insured. And you better call to verify. Do not allow anybody on your property if they're not fully insured. EJD Construction is 305-433-4843. Shell Construction in-house. That's how they keep all the costs down. And the other thing is, listen, customer satisfaction. That's what it's all about. That's what you're going to get with EJD Construction. Custom home construction, not a handyman, all right? So if you want to build a second floor, an extra room, modernize the kitchen, you call EJDconstruction.com.
This is the Big O Show. This is the